The four Focke-Wulf 190s dived on the lone P-51 Mustang from 28,000 feet, and Hauptmann Wilhelm Meyer was already positioning for what looked like a ticked kill. The American flew straight and level, apparently oblivious to the ambush. Easy target. Then three more Mustangs appeared from the sun above. Meyer's wingman died in the first pass. Helm Lear took 10 rounds through the cockpit and went down trailing smoke. Meyer and the fourth German pilot survived only by diving through their own flak. The humiliating escape the veteran pilots were considered unthinkable 6 months earlier. Arch 1944. As Meyer filed his after-action report at his base near Nancy, he wrote something that would be echoed in dozens of Luftwaffe intelligence summaries over the coming weeks. The Americans are no longer fighting like pilots. They are fighting like a machine. The German pilot had just encountered something that violated every principle of fighter combat Luftwaffe had refined over 8 years of warfare. The Americans weren't trying to outfly German pilots. They had both persisting where outflying didn't lie. Luftwaffe in 1944 had every reason to be confident their fighter tactics. Since the Spanish Civil War, German pilots had refined their doctrine through continuous combat experience. Their swarm formation, 4 aircraft in 2 pairs, gave them technical flexibility no other air force could match. Importantly, they had the aces to prove it worked. Erich Hartmann, 352 kills. Gerhard Barkhorn, 301 kills. Gunther Rau, 275 kills. The Luftwaffe had over 100 pilots with 50 or more victories. American top aces rarely exceed 40 kills. The numbers seem to validate German fighter doctrine. Train pilots to be individually superior. Give them freedom to maneuver. Let the skill decide the fight. German fighter training in the early war years took about 13 months and emphasized aerobatic mastery, energy management, and deflection shooting. The goal was creating pilots with what Germans called fingertip feeling, the instinctive understanding that separated competent pilots from lethal ones. Every German fighter pilot was trained to be an ace. In 1944, few shortages and instructor losses had forced Germany to reduce training significantly, but the doctrine remained unchanged. American pilots, by contrast, seemed almost deliberately mediocre. Their training lasted just 6 months. They flew rigid formations, avoided dogfights. When German pilots engaged them one-on-one in early 1943, the Americans seemed timid, breaking off combat and diving away rather than fighting. The Luftwaffe interpreted this as confirmation of what they'd always believed. Americans lacked the martial spirit necessary for air combat. It had the equipment, a poor fighting instinct. By March 1944, something had changed. Luftwaffe pilots were dying at rates that defied explanation. Experienced aces who had survived hundreds of combat missions were being shot down by American pilots who seemed to have no individual skill whatsoever. The Americans had stopped trying to dogfight. Instead, they implemented something the Luftwaffe intelligence called mutual support doctrine. A tactical system so simple it seemed stupid, yet so effective, it was curing Germany's best pilots. The American system worked like this. 4 fighters flew in pairs. The lead pilot's job was to attack. The wingman's only job was to protect the lead. Not to get kills, not to maneuver independently, just to stay in position and shoot anyone who threatened his leader. The German pilots attacked lone American fighters, situations that should have been easy kills. They found themselves being attacked from positions they hadn't expected, by pilots they had seen, executing coordinated maneuvers that left no room for individuation as a matter. The contrast viewed fundamentally different philosophies of warfare. German doctrine asked, how do we create the best individual fighter pilot? American doctrine asked, how do we make average pilots effective in combat? Germany's answer required 18 months of training, natural talent, and combat experience to develop. America's answer could be taught in 3 weeks. Stay with your leader. Watch his 6 o'clock. Shoot anyone who gets on his tail. Don't chase kills. Luftwaffe aces found the American approach almost offensive. Individual skill meant nothing in this system. A mediocre American pilot in the right position could kill an ace who was focused on a different target. The Americans have removed honor from air combat and replaced it with industrial thinking. Airmen pilots describe frustration in their after-action reports of facing opponents who wouldn't fight properly, who wouldn't accept individual challenges, who wouldn't break formation to pursue kills, who treat air combat as a dart rather than a test of skill. One captured pilot told interrogators, "They fly like truck drivers. No initiative, no creativity, just following procedures. They keep chroming, and there are always more of them." He was right. Just following procedures has proven more effective than ace-level skill. The technical implications became clear in the statistics. German kill ratios against American fighters declined significantly as American pilots gained experience and refined their mutual support tactics. By mid-1944, American fighters were achieving consistent successes against the Luftwaffe. Not because American pilots had become better individual pilots, but because the system made individual excellence less important than positional discipline. A German ace with 50 kills, diving on what looked like an easy target, would be chalked down to the target's wingman. An American pilot, with maybe 2 or 3 kills, who did nothing creative or skillful. At least feed, zen, and execute as one job. Ticked the leader. The Luftwaffe had no effective counter. Their entire tactical doctrine was built to ride individual freedom, to engage targets of opportunity. Requiring German pilots to fly in rigid formations would negate their greatest advantage, superior individual skill. Allowing them to maneuver freely meant they were being ambushed by Americans who stayed in mutually supporting pairs. Meyer and other German pilots of while they were being cued by American formation discipline, Luftwaffe High Command in Berlin was reading intelligence reports that made the technical picture even worse. By 1944, American training floors are producing fighter pilots several times faster than Germany could replace losses. Germany was losing ASA and took 18 months to create. America was losing pilots for 6 months to train, and replacing them faster than the Luftwaffe could shoot them down. German fighter train create irreplaceable experts who win through individual skill. American fighter train create replaceable hunts who win through system discipline. Decide the new aces is losing them. To find the main aces unnecessary kept sending more. By 1944, Luftwaffe leadership recognized they faced not just American pilots, but an industrial training system, replacement system, and tactical doctrine that treated pilots as interchangeable parts in a larger machine. And you can't shoot down a production system that produces pilots faster than you can kill them. By April 1944, the Luftwaffe was issuing emergency directives. Avoid combat with American fighters unless absolutely necessary. Focus on the bombers. Don't chase individual victories. German pilots had a bit of respect for American tactics as they resented them. Captured Luftwaffe after action reports described frustration at facing opponents who refused a fight properly, who wouldn't accept individual challenges, who wouldn't break formation to pursue kills, who treated air combat as a job rather than a test of skill. The comparison to industrial workers was more accurate than they knew. America had approached fighter tactics the same way it approached truck production. Design a system that works with ordinary people, make the system reproducible, train people quickly to execute the system, and produce enough people that losses don't matter. By summer 1944, the Luftwaffe had effectively lost air superiority over Western Europe. Not because American pilots were better. Individual German aces still achieve higher kill counts when they survive long enough. Because American tactics made individual ace levels feel increasingly irrelevant. A German pilot with 100 kills could be shot down by an American pilot with 3 kills if that American pilot stayed in position and executed his wingman duties. The mathematics were brutal. Germany couldn't replace skilled pilots fast enough. America didn't need to. Their system worked with average pilots, and they had unlimited average pilots. Luftwaffe's response to D-Day illustrated the collapse. On June 6, 1944, Allied forces flew 14,674 operational sorties over Normandy against 319 Luftwaffe sorties. German fighters that did take off were instructed to avoid American fighters entirely and focus only on ground attack missions where they wouldn't face coordinated fighter opposition. The tactical revolution America implemented in 1943 to 1944 didn't just win air superiority. It redefined what air superiority meant. Germany had built their fighter force around the idea that superior pilots flying superior tactics would compensate for numerical disadvantage. America proved that systematic tactics executed by adequate pilots would defeat individual excellence if you had enough adequate pilots. 3 months after Myers' encounter with the P-51 trap, Luftwaffe High Command held an emergency conference reviewing fire tactics and losses. Internal assessments captured after the war showed German leadership understood they faced numerical disadvantages that negated tactical superiority. The recommendation was to adopt offensive posture to preserve experienced pilots. The recommendation came too late. By then, Luftwaffe had lost air superiority, lost the ability to defend German cities, and lost the strategic initiative. Not because they lacked skilled pilots, but because skill could overcome a system designed to make skill less important than teamwork, discipline, and numbers. Today, every air force in the world flies some version of the tactical system America developed in 1943. The basic building block is still the element. 2 aircraft, 1 leader, and 1 wingman. The wingman's primary job being protection, rather than kills. Flight leads are still taught to trust their wingmen to wash their blind spots. Wingmen are still evaluated on their ability to stay in position rather than their individual kill counts. The Luftwaffe's emphasis on individual ace development has been relegated to historical study, remembered as tactically impressive but strategically obsolete. Because what America understood in 1944 remains true today. Wars aren't won by the side with the best individual warriors. They're won by the side that builds the best system and produces enough people to execute it. The German aces were legends. Individually more skilled, more experienced, lethal than their American pawns. They were fighting a system that had industrialized survival, a teamwork more valuable than skill, and produced replaceable pawns faster than Germany could kill them. In the end, Germany learned America was built different a single day, but through hundreds of encounters where German pilots discovered that individual excellence couldn't overcome systematic, disciplined, numerical superiority executed by ordinary pilots who trusted their wingmen more than their own skill. The side that created aces lost to the side that made aces unnecessary. That lesson remains the foundation of fighter tactics 80 years later.